33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
Okay,
like
let's
that.
stop. Tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here. Show me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Molgat for Kelowna Now. And we're joined by Gail Temple from Westcorp, famous for this glorious high-rise that is supposed to go down near the foot of Bernard, but this speculation tax is the main villain here that forced you guys to kind of step back from putting together your presentation home and going ahead with sales right away.
Yes, it's an irony, but it was announced the exact same day that we were approved. Who knew that it could have an impact? But it has for sure. It's all about buyer certainty, and we need to have buyer certainty before we can move forward. We've heard from enough people, and I don't mean just from Edmonton or Calgary, the potential buyers from Toronto or Saskatoon or wherever, even Lower Mainland. It's when there's uncertainty about whether or not you're going to be paying a tax, that's one thing. And of course it was 2% and now it's 1%. At the price point we're at, there's going to be hefty tax bills if that tax stays in place, especially if it stayed at 2%. But even having said that, for many of the buyers, it's about needing certainty before they move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And not just certainty, but I think that, so it's 2%, then it's 1%. But that doesn't really take away half of the problem because there's just this feeling that's left, right?
And there is that.
This is a discretionary purchase for people, I think, most of the buyers you'd be going for. And if they're not in a good mood about it anymore, it makes it more difficult to sell.
And it's true. It's made, and I hear it when I go to work in Edmonton as well. There is a sentiment that BC is being very unfriendly, maybe specifically to Alberta because more Albertans come here, but a lot come from Saskatchewan as well, and far more than people realize. People are coming from Toronto as well, and it's a feeling that British Columbia has become unfriendly, and if you don't want us, then I guess we're not going to invest our money there. And the hard part is a lot of the people that would have purchased if we had gone to market, this summer, even if there were second homes, these aren't second homes that people come and use for 2 weeks. These are second homes that people use for 100 days a year. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to rent them out. They really are second homes for people, or they were going to be a primary home.
Right.
They're really
a target of the tax, a lot of the people you would be selling to. People have made the point that, look around, there's other nice high-rises. They seem to be going ahead.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm hearing from you is that their target market is a little different.
Well, two things. Their target market is a little different. Their price point is a little different. And especially even if someone's buying for investment in one of those residential towers, they're happy to have a renter in there. That's how their investment's going to work.
Right.
We have hotel service residences here. Hotel service residences we expect probably 50% of them to be second homes. So there's the uncertainty from the second home buyer, and then there's the other piece where it is people who are going to buy for their primary residence or their principal residence, and say they're coming out of a house on the lake here or up in southeast Kelowna or wherever, and all of a sudden, and there is more than people realize, a bit of a flood of inventory coming on the market because of second home buyers who are choosing to sell. And that may affect price points. And so when people are uncertain about price points, they're not going to buy until they have a better sense.
Yeah, but some of these other developments are, pretty nice too. So it's nearly the same market, so that changes things. Looking at the real estate market overall, if there's any softening, it seems to be on the high end as well.
Yes.
So you got all these things happening at once.
Yeah, and you know what? The truth of it is, it's a confluence of factors. Because as much as this absolutely means we're not going to market this summer for certain, we were supposed to go to our hearing in December, and it was the city who asked us to take a step back and to potentially relook at Queensway, which we did, and we created that beautiful street plaza. Mm-hmm. But it put us at hearing on February the 20th. So our timelines when we were scheduled for early December were really ample to make all the decisions that need to be made about a presentation center. The reality is we would have been really, really, really pressed for time. And you don't want to be when you're trying to sell very high-end real estate. You want to do it very methodically and carefully so that your disclosure documents don't ever have to be changed. And so in some respects, we looked at this and went, you know what? This is a good judgment call for us. We're going to
Right.
be prudent.
So you're using this time. You're not just
We are
you're
using
not
it
just
very
sitting back.
constructively. Oh no, we're still moving on with our drawings. We'll go to building
Right.
permit.
Plus, those high-end units, there's 47 to sell. It's not a huge number. This is just because of all these things. It's a tougher job.
And these are going to be spectacular units. If we can now not rush through making some of the decisions that we want to make, then all the better for the product. So we are making very good constructive use of the time.
I know a lot of people are really excited about what it's going to be like to have something like that so close to the foot of Bernard. It'll be a new, an interesting feature for the city. What are you hearing from people about and when they start to think, oh, maybe it's not going to happen?
Well, all we said is we weren't going to market this summer. We fully intend to go to market early next year. So I'm not really certain why people think it won't go ahead. We're just confident and optimistic that everything will be just fine. We are going to take the time, like I said, to do some detailed planning in a little slower time frame than we had thought we had. We thought we were going to be very pressed for time, and we're not.
Right.
But we are not in any way not optimistic that this project will go forward.
Right.
It'll go forward.
This planning you're talking about, are there little tweaks that would be of interest to change the look of the building at all?
Not really to the outside of the building, but you don't, before you go to building or to development permit, you don't do a lot of the details on the interior. You just don't. You don't spend the money on doing that, and that takes a long time. It'll take us, almost 8 or 9 months to do construction drawings. But before you produce those drawings, you're making all the decisions you need to about where everything is going to fit in the interior plan of a residence or a hotel room. Hotel room was pretty much done. Residences were not. And so this is what I'm saying. It affords us a bit more time to take a really careful job with that.
So when do you think we'll see that?
I hope we're going to
fall?
market in the spring.
Okay.
Like no one goes to market Christmas time. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. And we're not going to market until this speculation tax is clear and we have a better sense of what the market's doing.
Right. So I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else that you wanted to say? Anything you wanted to clarify as people sort of speculate about what's going on with this development?
No, I hope people are just happy to know that we are carrying on and we are going through all of the motions that we need to in order to build in the time frame that we want to. We've hired a creative agency for the sales and marketing. We're making all the decisions we need to make.
Terrific. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Gail Temple from Westcorp, and you're watching Kelowna Now.